Alright, so the Guilty as Charged beta ended. I had a lot of fun with it. No, a lot of people didn't like it. I've heard a couple complaints. We definitely heard them, man. They are very, uh, we definitely know what they are, especially when it comes to characters like Soul and Ram. We definitely know that. So, we're gonna talk about things that are very important here in this video, because in this video we're talking about things that I would like to see change in Strive. In fact, 7 things total of the things I would like to see changed in Strive. So the first thing that I would like to see changed, that to me is a pressing issue, more important than anything else, the access to IB and IFD. So instant block and instant faultless defense. Those mechanics were introduced in one of the system mechanics trailer or something like that. Very good mechanics, very good defensive mechanics. They have very interesting interactions in this game because they're very different from previous games. In this one, they affect pushback, and pushback is huge in this game. It's really huge. Lots of characters abuse that, but IFD is a mechanic that exists, instant faultless defense, and it allows you to push the other character further away from you. That mechanic is important. I have not heard people talk about that at all, even when people complain about the game not having a lot of defensive tools, but it's probably because those defensive tools are not that accessible. So they are very important to the game, but they also, the biggest advantage of them is the fact that if they are more accessible, there's no need to nerf characters like Soul or Ram. Then again, I would say they would need couple adjustments, but those mechanics being more accessible, meaning that the gap when you use them, because right now the gap I think is 3 frames, but the gap if you use them is like, if it's like 6 to 8 frames, then I think more people would be able to use them, and it would be way easier to deal with characters like Soul and Ram Lethal. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is Nago Ryuki. Nago Ryuki, normally I wouldn't say, I would say this is a stupid issue, but he is such a popular character that is a big deal. We have to make sure that this character is usable and fun. And the thing right now is that a lot of people didn't like what they did with Nago Ryuki, and I feel like they did some changes to him that are interesting. For example, the fact that when you increase your blood gauge, you get faster buttons. That's a pretty interesting change. We don't know by how much they're faster, but they're definitely faster. However, there's more. He needs more. He needs way more stuff. We last talked about IB and IFD because of the nature of the game, where the pressure is really strong. People can just be on top of you all day, and this game is very spammy as well. So Nago Ryuki, to me, something that he needs some kind of defense. Normally people would say just give him a DP, right? But I don't agree with that. I feel like it would be pretty weird for him to have a DP, especially because he's a big body character and he doesn't move at all. I feel like he would be kind of a weird bait character, and if you see a zoner, you're pretty much dead. I think he needs something else to compensate for that. And I think what he needs is armor. I think he needs some kind of armor on some moves. Because it's very strange to me that Nago Ryuki, all he does is hurting himself and not being much of a threat to the opponent. And you definitely not want Nago Ryuki to end up like Kage from Street Fighter 5, who is, you know, he is like a very scary character. It's like the dark side of the Hado or something like that. And then when you play him, he's a super shy character. He doesn't want to hit the opponent. He's super stubby. He's super shy about his attacks. So it doesn't feel good to play at all. So Nago Ryuki being a big selling point, like I said, I would say that's a stupid issue that is weak, and people complain about that and say they wouldn't pre-order the game anymore. But he's such a big deal that I think it's important to give him some kind of thing like that. And to me, like I said, armor is a way to make it good. Like if you give armor to his heavy buttons, like maybe 5H or 6H, I think it would be pretty interesting to play Nago Ryuki at that point. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about here is the command normals and the normals in general of the game. So lots of people want like the Gatlings to come back, but this list that I'm making, by the way, is considering that this is the game that we're getting. We're not getting more, we're not getting anything else. This is the game that we're getting. This is the game that we will be playing for 4 to 5 years, who knows. But yeah, this is it. And I don't think Gatlings are ever coming back, because I think they do not fit the idea of this game. Because if you know, it's a long discussion that I can have here, but just know that to me it feels like Gatling doesn't fit at all in this game, because it will require you to have other things that are missing from other games, and at that point you are just playing other games. So the way, you know, people talk about Soul, how funny he is, he has like a lot of routes, he has a lot of things that he can do, he's super fun. Personally, I thought I was playing Leo, and I thought Leo was really fun to play. I had a lot of fun with Leo. Some people say he's boring, he has no combos, he does the same thing over and over again, he has no sauce. But I found a couple of cool things with Leo when I was labbing him. I don't know if other people found them before in the first beta, but I definitely had a lot of fun. I experienced a lot of things with Leo, and he had a lot of combos. He had a lot of cool shit. Pretty sick looking stuff actually. Just like Soul. Soul also has a pretty sick looking shit. The biggest difference between Leo and Soul is that Soul has easier access to those things than Leo, and that's because Soul. Someone explained this. Is because Soul, compared to all the other characters, Soul has access to his command normal, which is 6S. 6S, very good command normal, by the way. You can, like, a lot of characters have command normals, but 6S is an extremely good one. It doesn't need to be nerfed. Other characters need to catch up. That's my point. But not just that, like I said, the command normals are very important, and I feel like there's a lot of command normals in this game that are not useful at all. For example, Kai's 6k, yes, it's plus on block, but it's so difficult to land. It's so rare to see Kai doing 6k that it's literally not an option. It doesn't even exist because it's so damn slow. And not just that, you also have Leo's that I'm just mentioning the characters that I tested in the beta. Leo's 6H, very slow. People jump over it because it's so damn slow. It doesn't catch people in the air either. So it's like, wow, it's not a great move, you know. It's not, those moves are not great. He can chain it into 5S, into, you know, 5k, 5p, I mean 5h, which is nice. It's nice, but it's only nice when they block it. It's only nice when they block it or when it lands, and it has to land, and it's so rare for that to happen, because people just jump out of it, or they just make you whiff, or they just hit you when you're doing it, and it feels bad. So yeah. Like I said, Soul having his 6H is 6H or 6S, I mean, being really good, being accessible. Other characters should have similar things. Should they all do similar things? No, because that would make them more homogenized. But they should all have some way to have easy access to the command normals. One command normal, for example, that for Leo that is really good and that allows him to have sick combos is definitely his ability to do 5k into 6k, but 6h completely useless. That's what I mean. But yeah, that's my point when it comes to command normals. So the next thing that we're going to talk about here is the throws. I have a huge issue with throws. I don't like them. It's the one thing I would say in Guilty Gear Strive right now that pisses me off the most, even though I really like this game. But the throw game of Guilty Gear Strive right now is really not good. I'm not a fan of it. There's a couple things. So first of all, the big shocker is that throws can beat DPs. I don't like that. I don't like that. DPs are not throw info. It sucks. It really sucks. It just sucks. Straight up. On top of that, throws can also beat a lot of normals. I feel like that's a normal Guilty Gear thing because throws are really fast naturally. But I also feel like they have a lot of priority, because if you land a normal that is kind of slow but should hit, like maybe it should hit midi, or it should hit like some type of frame trap, people can just throw you out of it. People can just throw you out. It's so weird. It doesn't feel good at all. I don't like that part. And finally, the last part of throws that I don't like is when is the damage. I don't like the damage. I feel like it's a lot for how strong the throws are. I feel like it's a lot, right? So for now, it's a lot of things that I don't like about throws, right? And I feel like it just puts throws too much in a favorable position. But one thing that I think that sucks about the throws actually, and I think that should change definitely, is the ability to throw burst. You should be able to throw burst. It's very iconic for Guilty Gear. I'm not even a Guilty Gear player, and as someone who's new and who's also a viewer, of things like tournaments and stuff like that, I think it's pretty hype to see people throw burst, and it's pretty funny. It's epic and iconic and memorable, and you need that in your game. So I think throwing burst is vital. All right, so the next part is the damage. All right, so we're on the fourth or the fifth point right now. So the damage, I think it's very high, right? I like the high damage. I love it. I play Tekken. Tekken's my favorite game. Very, very high damage game. But the damage is something that is really dangerous when you make your game, because I feel like when you go too far with it, the game becomes scrubby. And I think that's the part that I fear for Guilty Gear Strive, is the game to feel scrubby. I like high damage, once again, but I don't like scrubby games. And Tekken has a very scrubby mechanics that does a lot of damage, and that is the Rage Art, which is too much. That's when I don't like the damage. And I have to call out Strive on that. For example, when you do Dust, so right now, something that is kind of mid-level right now, kind of low mid-level, little guess, it's kind of fun, is the fact that when you land a Dust that launches and you follow up, people will try to burst. So something that people do is you do back air dash to bait the burst, and then you do forward air dash again. What's left is like jumpy. You just do punch, and then it does the big knockdown. But the punch does so much damage. I understand maybe it's a way to compensate for the damage that you lost for baiting the burst, but it's still a lot, because when they don't have the burst and I do the Dust again, they won't have it. I will do that big damage that you want me to do with my other things. One other big issue with the damage spread is how things scale. The scaling is really bad on a lot of things, especially in combos, right? Unless you play Soul, who has really good scaling. For some reason, the scaling, that's not his problem. He just does like 2,200 damage or something like that. It's fine. But for everyone else, I have this sick ass combo, Leo combo, full wall carry, breaks the wall. Dude, it's crazy. But it only does 180. Soul does 220. That's insane. So finally, the last part of damage I don't like is raw supers. Main example, biggest culprit, biggest elephant in the room is Heavy Mob Cemetery. So Heavy Mob Cemetery, cool move, awesome. They changed it so it's now a command grab, meaning it's unblockable. But not just that, it has armor and it's full screen. I'm fine with it. I like it. I think it's dope. I think it's awesome. I think it's so over the top, but it does freaking 70% of your health. Dude, relax. Hey, chill. And it's not just that. Every super in the game does too much damage. But now one last thing. I said it was the last thing, but one last thing about the damage is the wrist gauge. I think for some reason when I play now, I feel like the wrist gauge is not as important. I feel like the wrist gauge lost its impact that it had during the closed beta in 2020. In 2020, when you were blocking, you were scared. In this open beta, I put someone at red wrist gauge and I didn't feel it at all. I was like, what? So I feel like if they wanted to play a bit more with the damage, I think wrist gauge is the way to go. Wrist gauge and scaling, that's it. We can have a high damage game all they freaking want. Now, the few last things that we have to talk about are the recovery, the air recovery on the air dash, and some moves in the air as well. So to me, the changes that they did, I'm okay with it. I think it's interesting because now people have they have recovery if they whiff a move in the air, which is cool, but not everything should have recovery. First of all, I don't like the change that they did to the backward air dash, the back air dash. It's too much. The travel distance is way too reduced. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the air dash naturally having air recovery or landing recovery. And I think the only moves in the air that should ever have recovery are H and S. The reason why is because heavy slash and slash are very good buttons to jump in. They do a lot of damage if you combo off of them, and they leave you plus on block very easily, right? It's very strong. I mean, every jumping move leaves you plus on block pretty much, but they're very strong. They give you big damage, but there should be a risk of landing those moves. There should be a risk of, like, if your opponent makes you whiff, if they do like drift RC backward, or if they do like a silly backdash, or maybe if they run forward when you're dashing towards them with those moves and it makes you whiff, you should be able to punish them right after. I think that's how I feel about those two things, because those moves are pretty good when it comes to that. And S specifically, slash is very strong because you can air dash it, you can air dash cancel it after landing it, you know, in the air. So it's like a good mix-up tool. So it doesn't need to be, it should have recovery. So that's my point. But P and K are pretty weak as jump-ins. They shouldn't have recovery. All right, last thing that we can talk about here is the wall break. So very quick one. I think the wall break is cool. It's an interesting mechanic. I'm not saying that it's good or it's bad. I just think it's super interesting to me that it's there, and I think it's an interesting rule overall. However, the biggest issue with wall break is that not every character wants to break the wall. Not every character wants to be in the position of breaking the wall, and not every character wants to be like, oh, let's go to reset, because you have a character like Axel that is running around, and if you wall break, he's free. You lost you lost your freaking you lost your pressure, right? And the thing is, the wall will eventually break. The wall will break. It will. But we should be able to know when. That's the issue. We should be able to know when. We should have some kind of indicator that shows you that the wall will break. It should only give you an indicator as you're hitting your opponent. If you do like a wall carry from mid-screen, you should be able to see that there's something about the wall that is like maybe yellow, maybe green, maybe red. Because I did a full combo with Leo, and I did a DP during that combo at the end, and it wall splattered, and it's because I already did a certain amount of damage. And from that I understand that the wall is it's like stacking damage from your combo, and if you reach a certain point, it will immediately break, like straight up. It would like break right away. So I think there should be a way when you're beating someone up towards a wall, there should be something that indicated even when you're hitting them into the wall. So like a blue red light, or maybe like a green light or yellow light, but something that has like that shows health. So if it's healthy, it's green, yellow, then red, you know, something like that. So I think that's just how it should be. I'm hoping that maybe they will change those things. So let me know what you guys think that they can change during the very little time that they have to make a day one patch. I'm not expecting much, but I'm expecting at least 3 of these points to be changed. At least 3 of these points. Not to be changed the way I say it, but to be changed regardless. So thank you all so much for watching. I really enjoy if you leave a like, you know. So yeah, support your boy. I'm out.